Good evening and welcome to Kini News. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong has granted consent for an ad hoc committee appealing for the end of the emergency to have an audience with His Majesty.
The Yang di-Pertuan Agong has granted an audience to the opposition's committee to end the emergency at a date and time that will be determined later. In a statement, the committee's chairperson Khalid confirmed the matter and expressed hope that it would be held soon. Khalid said a letter from Istana Negara was sent to him this morning. As the chairperson of the committee, he extended the utmost appreciation to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong for his concern. Last month, the ad hoc committee had launched a petition to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to end the emergency. The committee includes opposition MPs from Pejuang, Amanah, Warisan, DAP, PKR, and Muda, as well as several NGOs. On Tuesday, several opposition figures had requested an audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to convey alleged negative sentiments from the public over the proclamation of emergency. Members of the group included Khalid, Amanah President Muhammad Sabu, and Pejuang Pro Tem Chairperson Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Mahathir had said that Malays in the country are starting to express their anger towards the Malay rulers at the palace over the emergency declaration. He explained that the way the emergency was declared made it look as though it was done at the Agong's behest, and hence any criticism of the move was being treated by some as an act of treason.
PAS has offered to mediate the dispute between UMNO and BERSATU. This came amidst concern that the Malay parties would lose their political dominance if the squabbling was not stopped.
PAS is prepared to step in and act as mediator to resolve the dispute between UMNO and BERSATU before the 15th general election. This was announced by PAS Dewan Ulama Chief Nik Muhammad Zawawi Saleh. According to Bernama, Nik Muhammad told reporters at his office in Pasir Putih yesterday that PAS could arrange for a meeting between the two to work out a common ground for them to end their bickering. He added that they were worried if a solution is not found to achieve consolidation of the parties, it could affect the position of Malay Muslims in the country. He said this in response to concerns that Malay parties would lose their political dominance if the squabbling was not stopped. According to Nik Muhammad, the dispute between the two parties could be resolved if they return to the negotiating table. He said PAS will continue to unite Muslims, as it is the second agenda of Islam. UMNO has said that it would not work with BERSATU in GE15. During the UMNO General Assembly last month, the party had also given the leadership the mandate to determine when it should withdraw its support for Perikatan Nasional. They had previously decided to remain with the PN government until Parliament is dissolved.
UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has claimed alternative efforts to bring in approved COVID-19 vaccines are being delayed. He also had some comments on the progress of the vaccination exercise. But before we go to that, if you like our content, do check the link in the description to become a contributor.
UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi has questioned the progress of the COVID-19 vaccination exercise, which he claimed was slow. In a post on Facebook today, he said 2 months have passed since the vaccination rollout began, and to date, 451,237 individuals have completed the 2-dose vaccination regime, and this only involved selected people. Zahid added that the government had heavily publicized the arrival of the first batch of the COVID-19 vaccine in February, and there was hope among the people that it will be administered immediately. The movement control order can come to an end, and there won't be thousands of new cases every day. However, he said things have not turned out according to expectations. Zahid also claimed that alternative efforts to bring in approved COVID-19 vaccines are being stalled. He said there were rumors that other quarters are trying to bring in vaccines approved by the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency, but these efforts have to be suspended due to delays by the relevant ministry. For example, those by private companies and foundations from Selangor and Sarawak. Zahid added that the delay in the vaccination process is unacceptable and the government has to act quickly to speed it up. Previously, Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin reportedly denied that the COVID-19 vaccination exercise was slow. He had said that people needed to follow the schedule.
A DAP rep has a possible solution to the criticisms laid out against the speed of the COVID-19 vaccine program rollout. According to Bukit Gasing Assembly person Rajiv Rishakaran, more transparency was needed on the vaccine rollout plan, which would in turn allow Malaysians to better gauge the pace of the said program.
Bukit Gasing Assembly Person Rajiv Rishakaran has called for National COVID-19 Immunization Program Coordinating Minister Khairi Jamaluddin to be transparent on the COVID-19 vaccination plan. He said Khairi needs to give a more detailed target on the number of people the government is aiming to vaccinate. He said this in response to Khairi, who was reported as saying that Malaysia's COVID-19 vaccination pace was not slow. In a statement today, Rajiv said there must be a daily target that the government commits to vaccinating in order to actually achieve the target of vaccinating 80% of the population by the end of the year. He added that without set targets and goals, it is easy to claim that the government will be following schedules and phases, but all that has been given are broad strokes of the plan with big numbers. He noted that transparency was needed, especially since Parliament has been suspended and no oversight can be provided, and added that data on the number of vaccines expected and timeline should also be published. Rajiv also urged the Special Committee on Ensuring Access to COVID-19 Vaccine Supply to release a vaccine rollout plan immediately. Phase 2 of the immunization program involving the elderly and ill began on Monday. According to the plan, the government intends to vaccinate 9.4 million people by August. On Tuesday, Khairi also said at least 95% of the 571,000 frontliners have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1,000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
The Education Ministry has announced a new directive for schools with positive cases of COVID-19. This came following an increase in the number of cases from the education sector.
Any school that reports a case of COVID-19 will be closed for 2 days. This was announced by Deputy Education Minister Ma Hang Soon. He said the directive, which took effect from April 21st, was decided in a meeting chaired by Education Minister Ratzi Jaden. Ma told Sinchu Daily that the school will be disinfected completely, and the teachers, students and parents will have an emotional buffer space which will prevent unnecessary panic and misunderstanding. He said the district health officers will determine whether affected schools can reopen after 2 days or if the closure has to be extended. They will also arrange for students and teachers who require a COVID-19 test. He added that students affected by the closure will switch to home-based learning. The new directive comes following an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases being reported at schools. Yesterday, it was reported that 4,868 COVID-19 cases have been traced back to the education sector from January 1st to April 20th.
And that's a wrap for Kini News this evening. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com and also follow us on our social media on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook, because you can get the latest headlines there as well. Now before we go, if you would like to support the independent media, do consider a subscription to malaysiakini.com. If you're heading out, don't forget that mask, and when you can, still do try to stay home. I'm Daniel Anthony, thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe Malaysia.